Hello, MMA fans around the world. You have a question, we have the answer. Welcome back, episode 2. We got a lot to talk about, including a plague of injuries that has happened in the UFC. Alright, let's start off. Josh Koscheck, Damian Maia. My opinion, that wasn't going to be a good fight in the first place, but now it's not going to happen at all. Josh Koscheck is injured. That fight is scratched. And moving on, UFC on Fox 8 is coming up really soon. And their main card just messed up again. I mean, come on, how many times is this going to happen? Robbie Lawler was originally supposed to fight a guy, and then that guy got injured, and then he got another guy, and then that guy gets injured, and now Bobby Volker has stepped in to fight. That is going to be a good fight because it's two stand-up guys. I really want to see that fight. That one you need to tune in for. I'll talk about the whole thing later. I'll break it down. I'll do all that stuff later. But moving on, we got another problem. Matt Mitrione, Brendan Schaub, they were supposed to fight. That just got scrapped too. Matt Mitrione is injured. I was looking forward to this fight so much, and that fight has to get taken off. Well, it's going to happen sooner or later because it just makes sense. You know, those fighters are right now at the same spot. They want to move on. They got to fight each other. That's going to happen sooner or later. Make sure you tune in when that does happen. And also, Andy Ogley was set to fight Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is not injured. Andy Ogley is injured. And in my opinion, Andy Ogley, Conor McGregor wasn't going to be a good fight. But now they got Max Holloway in there. He is a long, lengthy fighter. Conor McGregor's a long, lengthy fighter. It only makes sense. That's a good job by the UFC getting in a good fighter. And also, Danny Castillo was set to fight Bobby Green. Bobby Green's hurt now. So that fight is off too. And that was a fight that I was looking forward to because they were pretty much the same fighters. And I just want to see Bobby Green beat up another wrestler. Sorry about that, but it's true. I mean, for someone to just take you down and just hold you there, it's not a good idea. I like someone who does their business, gets out. But now, Danny Castillo will be fighting Tim Means. Tim Means is a pretty good fighter, but Danny Castillo is going to win, honestly. And moving on, Evis Edwards, Spencer Fisher, that was supposed to be a fight of two guys who are pretty much going to retire sooner or later. But now that Spencer Fisher's hurt, he needs to retire more sooner than later. Evis Edwards will fight Darren Cruikshank. That could be a battle of stand-up, or it could be Darren Cruikshank getting the takedown and beating up Evis Edwards. What's going to happen? I don't know. Because the difference is that Evis Edwards is good standing up. He's got some good knockouts. But Darren Cruikshank is good at Taekwondo, and he's good at wrestling. So what will happen? I don't know. But it's going to be worth watching. And moving on, one of the biggest injuries in the UFC ever, for a good reason. TJ Grant was set to fight Benson Henderson, but Anthony Pettis was also set to fight Jose Aldo. He gets hurt, and he says, you know what? Maybe if TJ Grant gets injured, I'll take the fight. I mean, whatever. It's not like I asked for the title shot a long time ago. Now he's going to get it. TJ Grant got injured, and honestly, people are saying a lot of bad stuff towards the UFC, saying that they set it up, that they gave TJ a lot of money to say that he was injured. I don't know. I don't care. It's a good fight. Okay? Let's just leave it at that. Let's leave TJ alone. He's probably going to get another top contender before he gets the title shot. Whatever. He's going to get it sooner or later. Just calm down. And also, in Manchester, it's a good fight coming up. I love this matchup as Mark Munoz will be taking on Michael Bisping. I don't like Michael Bisping. His mouth is just terrible. Dude, you're not Chael Sonnen. Just keep your mouth shut, okay? And honestly, with their accent, it's pretty hard to understand you in the first place. So, I mean, I can't tell whether you're insulting someone or just saying something nice about them. So, I mean, it's kind of bad to say something bad about someone if they can't understand you. And that especially went with Mark Munoz, because what he said about Mark Munoz is he said, oh, Chris Weidman, he beat a fat Mark Munoz. It's kind of bad when a guy gets in a depression and starts eating himself away. And you said that he was fat. Ouch, that's a little harsh, man. But I think Mark Munoz is going to get his revenge this time. And I hope he shuts Michael Bisping's mouth. He keeps talking so much. He says, oh, I'm going to take the belt. I'm going to do all this stuff. Well, stop talking. Because you're not going to do it. Anytime you face a top contender, like, I don't know, Vitor Belfort, Dan Henderson, you get knocked out. It's that simple. You want a title shot? You beat the big guys. But you can't do that, so keep your mouth shut until you can. And moving on, speaking of middleweights, it's going to happen again. Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva 2, taking place on December 28th. It was kind of confused between December 28th and Super Bowl weekend. It's confirmed December 28th. So now people were wondering what's going to happen to Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate. It's going to become the co-main event. That is going to be one of the biggest fights ever. I am going to be glad to see that one. Those two matched up on the same card. I mean, come on. How can you go wrong with that? But of course, Anderson Silva facing Chris Weidman again faces a problem. Vitor Belfort was and is the top contender. So now what does he do? He's got two options, really two options. He can either rest and wait it out until the winner comes out. I don't know, Chris Weidman. When he comes out victorious, or he can fight a guy and then fight for the belt. And honestly, I said in the last episode, that is, if you watched the last episode, you saw that I told you that Dana White said out of Dan Henderson or Vitor Belfort, Dan Henderson deserves it more. Well, fine. Make him earn it then. Put your money where your mouth is, Dana. Okay? If you're going to talk about who deserves the title shot more, let them fight for it. The UFC fans want to see this fight. It's two guys who will go out there and fight. That's what I like to see. And let me think about it. Did I just give the UFC a brilliant idea of having another epic fight on there? And having a key to awesomeness? Yeah, I did. The UFC needs to hear this out. They need to know that the fans want to see Dan Henderson versus Vitor Belfort. In my opinion, that could be fight of the century, fight of the year, fight of everything. So, what do you think? Comment below. I really want to know. Do you have a question? Comment that too, because we have the answer. And make sure you share this around. Make sure the UFC can see this. Because I want Dana White and the UFC to actually put their, we listen to fans and we listen to what the fans want to see. Put that to good use. I just gave you a good fight option. There you go. I'm pretty much handing it to you. Share it around. Make sure the UFC hears this. But besides that, I'm signing out. Tune in later. This is The Answer.